Hi, I am Cindy McKay from the Mudhole Instructional staff, and I'm going to demonstrate for you today what is called magic marbling. Magic marbling is a way that you can give some accent colors to your components that you're going to put on your rod blanks. So for example, handles, reel seats, foregrips, all of those components are things that you can magic marble. There's actually no limit to what can be magic marbled. Another terminology that you might hear out there is hydro dipping, and the process is pretty similar. What we're going to do is take one of our colors, and in the lineup at Mudhole, they have over 30 colors of the magic marbling brand, and some of those are metallic. We're going to give the bottles a shake. We're going to put it in the surface of this jar that has some water in it. And one thing you want to be aware of is that whatever you're going to dip, to only put enough liquid in here so that you don't submerge it and overflow it. So make sure you have a nice container that will handle what you're doing the marbling in. And you need some paper towels. I like to wear gloves because if I stick my hand through here when I magic marble, my hand will be marbled. But I have some examples here of different ones that have been done in some of our demos in the classes. Couple of the reel seats, and here's what you need to know, is if you're going to magic marble something that is not white, if it's black in color or the colored EVA, sometimes the marbling colors will get muted on top of that. So what we will do is go ahead and spray that EVA with a primer of paint, white paint, to give it that white base. After that, you dip it, and then when you are finished with it, in order to seal in, you can leave it like this, but in order to seal it in, a craft clear coat, triple thick is a good one. There's several that are sold at your craft stores. It'll just give it a protection coat on top of it. Of course, you can always put epoxy on it. This is an example of one that's been magic marbled with the Green Bay colors. I have a couple reel seats. The one that is black, you can see the colors pretty much got muted on it. The one that's white, the colors popped. And if we get a close-up eventually, you can see what I did on this one. I taped up the hoods, and then I went ahead and did the magic marbling. I also put a couple stickers on here before I did the dipping into the magic marble paint and peeled it off so I have the outline of the fish on that reel seat. These are just pieces of EVA, and that's what we're going to go ahead and use. So I'm going to do a little bit of preparing as far as shaking these bottles up to get that oil mixed into it off the surface of the jars, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so we have our jars of magic marble mixed. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to drop some of the magic marble pigment onto the surface of this water. I have turquoise that I'm using, and I'm going to put some yellow, that metallic yellow, on top of that. If you're using a really dark color, it's best to put the dark color down first and then the lighter color on top. Before I go ahead and do the dipping into the pigment, I'm going to just take the end of a paintbrush or a popsicle stick, and I'm going to give it a swirl. Kind of blending those colors together. There we go. Notice I have paper towels right here handy, ready to go, because as soon as I submerge the item or the component that I'm dipping, I want to move the paint away from the surface of that water. So I have a piece of white EVA foam here on a popsicle stick, and you can go in straight down and get the same results. You can twist and turn it to kind of get more twirls on it. Again, it's a nice artistic flair of doing some components. So you can see I have it under the water. I don't want to pull it straight back up until I remove some of that magic marble off of the surface. And there we go. It does not take long to dry. in this state right here. But then what I would want to do in order to preserve it on this EVA is I would either add a layer of epoxy to it when it's completely dry, epoxy it over to seal it in. You could also use a clear coat from a craft store, something like Triple Thick, just a clear gloss coat, spray and or brush on. And that is pretty much the gist of Magic Marble. You can pretty much dip in Magic Marble any of your components that you're comfortable with. What you get is what you get. If you don't like it, spray it white, start over.